versus Douglas Eugene Deshaun Hill, case number 21 FB 1594.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Amy Reiser on behalf of the people.
Good afternoon, Ms. Reiser.
Michael Gaddy, Assistant Public Defender on behalf of Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill is also here. Mr. Hill, if you could unmute and state your name.
I'm Douglas Hill.
Hello, Mr. Hill.
Hello.
All right, today is the day and time scheduled for preliminary examination in this matter.
That is correct, Your Honor. Your Honor, I do appreciate the court giving us the breakout before. After having spoken to Mr. Hill and reviewed the police report that I was given earlier today on a ancillary situation, kind of, I renew my request to adjourn this matter. I'm not going to go into all the stuff we went into in the breakout room, but this is a file that I think deserves some time to put how these things go together.
Response, Ms. Reiser.
Sure, Your Honor. As I indicated to the court at the bench, the people are objecting to an adjournment. The case has been adjourned from May 27th and again from June 17th until today's date, July 20th. I do believe the public defender has had ample time to prepare for the exam, meet with the defendant, and I believe in light of the threatening messages that the victim has been receiving, I believe that the request is coming because the defendant thought that the victim would not appear for the preliminary exam based on the threats that she's been receiving from him. So we're here and we've been ready to proceed since 9 o'clock.
All right, Mr. Gaddy, as I indicated during the breakout session that we had about an hour and a half or so ago, I am of the opinion that this matter has been going on since May, and agree with the prosecution that there has been ample time to get prepared. I do understand that there are issues that came up within the public defender's office, and that is why I did not proceed at that time with the actual examination and pass this matter so you would have an opportunity to speak with your client with respect to this particular case. It is an hour and a half later. And I've held another examination in the interim time period. At this point in time, I am not willing to adjourn this matter any further.
Thank you, Your Honor. Also, for the record, I believe there was an offer in this matter to reduce the charge to assault with intent to commit criminal sexual conduct. Is that correct, Ms. Reiser?
Correct. The offer was plea to an added count 2 of assault with intent to commit sexual penetration with a sentence agreement of 1 year in jail, probation, and the sex offender registration.
I have gone over that with that offer with Mr. Hill, and he is rejecting that and choosing to go to exam this afternoon, understanding that once rejected, an offer is off the table and doesn't have to come back.
Correct. And I also, at the conclusion of the exam, would like to address the issue of bond.
Thank you. Mr. Hill, you understand that an offer has been made to you today, and that if you are rejecting that offer and you proceed to preliminary examination, it is Ms. Reiser's position that you will no longer be receiving that offer in the future. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, I do.
All right. And she also indicates that she wishes to address bond. There have been some issues raised with respect to allegations that you or someone related to you has made threats to Ms. Nelson. You understand that, sir?
Yes, I am aware of those allegations.
All right, thank you. All right, you may call your first witness, Ms. Reiser.
Thank you. The people would call Shakira Nelson.
All right, Ms. Nelson, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ms. Reiser.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm looking at the Zoom screen. I'm assuming that that Ms. Nelson will be the only witness. If not, I'd ask to sequester any who may be waiting somewhere else.
The only other witness I would have is the officer in charge, Deputy Turpin, and she was logged on, but she had a meeting, so I don't see her logged on.
Okay,
And
thank you.
She would be the officer in charge, so she would be sitting through the exam.
Thank you. And for the record, so that there's clarity on the record, the only individuals on this particular screen, there are 9, they all show names at least. There's Mr. Hill, myself, Ms. Reiser, Mr. Gaddy, Ms. Nelson, who is the witness, the recorder for the court, as well as a victim's rights advocate, another prosecutor, and another victim's rights advocate. So there are no witnesses present.
That's correct.
Sure.
All right, one moment, please. The court is going to pass this matter for a moment, and I need to recall another matter just briefly. We'll be right back. The court will recall the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Britton Keith Aldrich, 21-39217.
Yeah, they on some bullshit. A year probation.
Mr. Hill?
Fuck yeah.
Mr. Hill, you could still be heard. Thank you all for the insight with all the case law today. Learned a lot. All right, the court will go back on the record in the case of the state of Michigan versus Douglas Eugene Hill, case number 21 FB 1594.
Thank you. Amy Reiser again on behalf of the people.
Thank you. Mr. Gaddy,
Mike Gaddy, Assistant Public Defender on behalf of Mr. Hill.
thank you. All right, you may continue with Ms. Nelson's testimony.
Thank you. You did swear her in. Did she state and spell her name?
She did not state and spell her name.
Ms. Nelson, would you state and spell your name, please, for the record?
Shakira Nelson, Shakira, Nelson, Nelson.
Thank you, ma'am. My name is Amy Reiser, and we met earlier this morning, and I'm going to ask you questions. If anything is sort of delayed because we're on Zoom, please just let me know, and I can repeat the question if you don't understand it. They will still, from this recording, make a transcript. So sometimes witnesses like shake their head yes or no, but we do need a verbal response, so the clerk will be able to prepare a transcript. And when I'm done asking you questions, Mr. Gaddy will ask you a series of questions, and the same rules apply. If there's anything he asks you that you don't understand, just let him know and he can repeat it. And if at any time you need to take a break, let us know. So can you tell me, I want to take you back to May of 2021. Were you living on an address 2802 Apple Ridge Street in Ypsilanti Township, Washtenaw County?
2802.
2802.
Yes.
Is it, am I pronouncing it right? Apple Ridge? Okay,
Yes.
just a little delay there. And who were you living there with?
I was staying with one of my coworkers. Her name is Aaliyah Tate.
Okay. And was that like were you temporarily staying with her, or were you a roommate? What was the situation?
I was temporarily staying there. I had just recently lost my own place of living, and in between me waiting for the place that I'm currently in to be ready, I was staying with me.
Okay. And where do you work at that you knew Aaliyah from work?
I work for Ypsilanti Community Schools.
Okay. Okay. And while you were staying there, did you?
Your Honor, I believe that her, Ms. Nelson's camera went out.
I believe it did as well.
I was trying to get it back.
Ms. Nelson, one moment, please. Ms. Nelson, one moment, please. That sometimes the camera does have to go out in order for the video feed to actually be able to take up to hear the testimony. So that may have to occur in this environment, Mr. Gaddy. Are you objecting to that?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, we're on Zoom, which is, great technology, but I still think we need to be able to judge body language and things like that.
Any response? Ms. Reiser?
No, Your Honor. I mean, I think it's a bandwidth issue. So I think when she's speaking, we're not able to hear her. But if she's able to shut her screen off, then we can hear what she's saying because of the internet connection.
I believe that the prosecution is correct with respect to that. So
Yeah.
is your
I just
client hearing via Zoom without objection? He did schedule this for a Zoom hearing, correct?
He did.
That is correct, Your Honor. I believe it is scheduled here via Zoom.
All right, thank you.
However, it's scheduled via Zoom working properly. Zoom in the vast majority of cases entails, it's different from a telephone in that we can see each other and hear each other both at the same time. Technology that we didn't have a couple of years ago for the most part. So to the extent that he did it, I believe this was scheduled for a Zoom exam. However, I don't think that it was scheduled for a phone exam, which is what this turns into if the camera isn't working.
Well, Zoom can actually be via phone. People can call in. So technically, she could have called in today and testified.
I'll just note my objection, Your Honor. Like I said, I don't know if her not being. Zoom is typically people being on the screen. Testifying without that, it becomes not that. And if this is, if the standard for a Zoom exam is that she could have called in and testified without any facial or without any camera, then I don't necessarily know that we would have waived to that, or we would have agreed to that.
All right. Additionally, I can't see your client either because he's in the dark.
Can you turn on a light, Mr. Hill? There we go.
Thank you.
And he's sideways. I don't know what's up with that.
All right, thank you. We will continue to try to see if we can get the testimony so that I can hear her. If we are unable to hear her and there is an objection to seeing her, then we may have to have this done in person. Is the only thing I can think of to satisfy any objection. Ms. Reiser?
Okay, we'll continue.
Right.
Ms. Nelson, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, that's better. So you were living temporarily at the Apple Ridge address with your coworker because you had lost your own housing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so did you know the defendant Douglas Hill?
I did once I moved in, but not prior to moving in.
Okay, so when you moved in, you met him, and what was his relationship to the homeowner?
I believe he's like her nephew or her godson. I just know that she's been present in his life since he was a child. So.
Okay. And the individual that you met and came to know as Douglas Hill, do you see him on the screen, on the Zoom screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And can you tell us what he's wearing?
It looks like a black wife beater.
The record could reflect she's identified.
Actually, the characterization, Your Honor.
He's objecting to the characterization of the type of t-shirt that he is wearing today.
Oh, could you explain what you mean by wife beater, Ms. Nelson?
No, I don't want an explanation of it. Or could you identify it in a different way, Ms. Nelson, please?
He's wearing a black tank top, red shorts.
Thank you. And appears to have a video game controller in his hand.
So I'm going to take you to May 2nd, the early morning hours of May 2nd, 2021. Were you staying at that address?
Yes.
Okay. And did Mr. Hill live there, or did he come there to visit, if you know?
I think it was like an off-term living situation. He was there quite often, but I wouldn't say as often as I was.
Okay. And so Saturday evening, May 1st, going into the early morning hours of Sunday, May 2nd, can you tell us what you were doing at the residence?
At the residence at that time, I had come in from spending the day with my child's father. I had to, I guess I just took a shower that day. I went into the bedroom to go to bed, the bedroom being that of Aaliyah Taylor's, her son. He had went to spend the night with a family member, which left his bed free and available. I usually slept on the couch or with Aaliyah Taylor's daughter. So opposed to sleeping in bed with another person or on the couch, I decided to take her son's bed.
And he was gone for the night?
Yes, he was gone for the night.
Okay. And when you say your child's father, can you explain who your child is?
I am currently pregnant. I'm 27 weeks tomorrow. So when I say my child's father, the man who impregnated me, that's who I'm referring to.
Okay. And so you mean your unborn child?
Yes, my unborn child.
Okay. So you went to bed in the son's bedroom. At some point, did the defendant come in there?
Yes, he did.
And do you recall like approximately what time it was?
I would say maybe around 3 a.m., maybe a little earlier.
Okay. So 3 a.m. on Sunday, May 2nd.
Correct.
Okay. And what happened when he came in?
When he came into the bedroom, I was laying on my stomach, and Mr. Hill, he initially started to kind of like massage my body. And into that action, I didn't reject it. I didn't oppose anything of that nature. It wasn't until the massage, he tried to progress it, and he tried to pull my shorts down. When he tried to pull my shorts down is when I first started to object to him and tell him no, that, this isn't what I wanted.
Okay. So he starts to pull your shorts down. And what part of his body is he using to pull your shorts down?
He's using his hands to pull my shorts down. He's like, it's more of like a simultaneous action where he's trying to pull my shorts down and turn my body over. Because as I stated, I was originally laying on my stomach.
Okay. And you're verbally telling him no?
Yes.
Okay. And what, if anything, are you doing with your body?
With my body, I am trying to go against Mr. Hill's actions, trying to block and pull up my shorts as he's trying to pull them down. And I feel like eventually it was a matter of him not wanting to wrestle with my shorts anymore. Well, in a matter of pulling them down, because he just kind of pulled them to the side. And that's when he used his, I guess, other extremities, meaning his legs and his arms, to kind of pin my body parts back. He had a forearm here, like on my rib cage area. I ended up with bruising there. And I also ended up with bruising on the inside of my legs from where he was holding me down and trying to pull my shorts apart to cause penetration.
Okay. And so at that point, did he have you on your back?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what, if anything, is he saying to you?
He is, in the beginning, there wasn't much that was to be said by the defendant. But as I started to tell him, no, I don't want this. This isn't what I want. Stop. He started to ask me very specific questions. Do you like it? How does this feel? Things like that.
Objection.
And
What's the
Sorry,
objection?
Mr. Gaddy. Objection to hearsay?
Yes.
All right. The objection is hearsay.
Your Honor, that's a statement made by a party opponent, specifically the defendant in this case.
Thank you. I agree. Overruled.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So you're telling him no, Miss Nelson, and he's asking, do you like this? Do you like this?
Yeah, he's asking me, do you like this? He was asking me if he could do sexual things to me that I kept repeatedly responding no to. I kept repeatedly responding stop. I never stopped fighting or trying to push him off of me. So, yeah.
And he was physically holding you down with his body?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what happened next?
Afterwards, I'm not sure if he ejaculated or if he just decided that he was tired of the fight. But Mr. Hill, he just kind of stopped. And when he stopped, he began to ask me if I was okay. I would say he asked me a good 3 times before I walked out of the room with my belongings. And yeah, when I walked out of the room, I went into another bedroom that held my clothing. I changed my clothes. I went and I locked myself into the bathroom. I texted a best friend of mine and told her that I needed a hospital and that I felt I had just been assaulted. And I felt that the defendant had been drinking, and I don't believe that he was believing me when I was telling him no or asking him to stop.
I object. Objection to the drinking comment. Objection to the drinking comment. You know, she said she felt that the defendant had been drinking. That would be call for speculation, and this is a narrative. The question was asked a long time ago.
Thank you. So, Ms. Reiser asked to the speculation and narration.
I can clarify on the drinking part, but I do. So, Miss Nelson, before leaving the room and going to the bathroom and those steps you took after that, did he actually penetrate you with a part of his body?
Yes, with his penis.
Into what part of your body?
My vagina.
Okay. And were you continually telling him to stop?
Yes, I was telling him to stop. I was telling him this isn't what I wanted. I was telling him, I was continuing to push him off of me, or at least attempting to. Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned that you thought he had been drinking. And can you tell us what led you to that belief?
We were in the same home. I seen him drinking.
Okay.
Mr. Hill also works at a bar where before he leaves, has a drink or two.
Objection calls for speculation. She doesn't know what he does at the bar unless she's there.
Okay.
Response, Ms. Reiser.
I mean, I think she can testify what led her to believe that he was drinking, what characteristics he was exhibiting, or if she saw him drinking.
I agree with that, Ms. Reiser. She's now testifying about something he did outside of her presence. So that is speculation. And
if I could just ask one clarifying question, do you know, Ms. Nelson, from your own information, if he had been at work previous to coming to that residence on Apple Ridge?
Yes, from my knowledge of Mr. Hill's work schedule, yes.
Okay. And did you see him consume alcohol in the Apple Ridge home that evening?
Yes.
Okay. Could you smell alcohol in his breath?
Yes.
And anything else that led you to believe that he had been drinking?
There were liquor bottles there. I seen him drinking. There's not much to lead me to believe it. I seen it.
Okay, thank you. And after you sent this message to your friend, did she come and pick you up and take you to the hospital?
Yeah, she messaged me and let me know that it was late. So she was like, okay, give me a chance to put my clothes on and I'll be there to come and get you. She texted me when she was on her way. She texted me when she was outside. When she texted me and told me that she was outside, I left the residence. I got in her car and she drove me to St. Joe's.
And there, did you undergo a sexual assault exam by the nurse?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you also tell her what happened?
Yes, I did, but not with all of the detail.
Okay. And were you ultimately interviewed by the police?
Yeah, a few officers, yes.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any other questions for this witness.
Thank you. Your witness, Mr. Gaddy.
Ms. Nelson, you testified that you were staying at the, sorry, I got my notes here. Okay, sorry. You testified that you're staying at the 2802 Apple Ridge address. Is that correct?
Yes.
On May 2nd?
Yes.
How long had you been staying there at the time?
I would say like the middle of February or so, like the beginning, mid-February, I moved in.
Mm-hmm. And you said that Mr. Hill's godmother lives there?
Yes, she rents the home.
Uh-huh. And what's her name?
Aaliyah Taylor.
Who else lives there?
I guess her partner or her boyfriend, he was there at the time, and she has 2 children, a son and a daughter.
How old are they?
At the time, her daughter was 15, and I believe her son was 9, maybe 10.
Okay. And what time did you get home on the 2nd?
I'm not sure. I would say that I got home pretty late, though. I would say at least after 11 p.m.
Okay. And what time and you said Mr. Hill came home at some point, or was he home when you got there? Or was he at the address when you got there?
I believe Mr. Hill was already there when I arrived that night.
Okay. And when you got there, did you immediately go take a shower, or did you sit and did you immediately go take a shower?
No, earlier that day, I had been a few places with like shopping. So I went and I put some things away, that kind of thing. I socialized in the living room with Mr. Hill and Mrs. Taylor for a little while, and then I went and took a shower and laid down. So it was a while before I actually went to bed.
Okay. Yeah, you testified that you were with your soon-to-be child's father. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what's his name?
His name is Marcus
Marcus what?
Williams.
Okay. And so let's describe, so when you got home, you said Miss Taylor was there. Do you know where she was when you got home?
Her living room and dining room and kitchen area is kind of like one big open space. So she was in that general area.
Okay. And where were her kids?
Her daughter was in her bedroom and her son was not home. From my knowledge, I was told that he went with an aunt.
Okay. And where was her boyfriend?
He was not in the residence either. When I got there, Mrs. Taylor was actually pretty upset and distraught that he wasn't home and she was looking for him.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where he was.
Okay, you're breaking up on me a little bit there, but I made it out. Okay, and so is this a 1-story or a 2-story house?
This is a 1-story house. There's no upstairs.
Is there a basement?
No, there isn't.
Okay. And how many bedrooms are there?
There's 3 total.
Okay. And how many bathrooms?
Was that how many bathrooms?
Yeah.
There's 1.
Okay, so we've got, now is there a separate dining room from the kitchen?
No, the kitchen area and the dining room, they're kind of, the kitchen area, the dining room, and the living room, they're all like one big open space. The only thing that would be separated from that, she has like a smaller laundry room that's kind of separate.
Okay. All right. And do you know how many square feet this house is?
I have no idea.
Okay. Would it surprise you if it was about 850 square feet?
Again, I don't know.
Okay. And so you testified that you came in and you sat down and talked for a while. How long did you talk?
Um, I'm not sure. A little while. I would say at least a couple of hours
Mhm.
because it was long enough for me to converse with Aaliyah. And like I said, she had disclosed to me that, you know, her boyfriend hadn't come home. He had the vehicle, that kind of thing. So we discussed that for a while. Her daughter, the 15-year-old, she came out to the table and conversed with us for a while as well. So
She came out to the table or the living room? You just said you were in the living room. Were you in the living room or the kitchen or the dining room?
I just said that all of it is connected and it's all open. So depending on where we were at the time, I would be sitting at the table. Aaliyah was back and forth in between her living room and her dining room. When her daughter came out, she was pretty much, I would say primarily at the table until she went back into her room.
Okay. And what time did you go to take a shower?
I'm not sure. I would say after 2 a.m.
Mhm. Okay. All right. And then you said you went to bed, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you testified that you went into Miss Taylor's son's bedroom.
Correct.
Okay. So if you're in the house, okay,
Mhm.
let's say in the living room, okay,
Correct.
is there a hallway to the bedrooms?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Is this bedroom? Are the bedrooms right in a row, or are they, space, or are they on opposite sides of the hallway, or what?
There's one bedroom on the front end of the hallway. The bathroom would be in the middle, and the last 2 bedrooms would be on the ends of the hallway.
Okay, so you're testifying that you were in the front bedroom, then the one closest to the living room.
Correct.
Okay. And how far is that bedroom from the living room?
It's right off of the living room, like the hallway. So you would turn off of the living room, and as soon as you jump into the hallway, I would say there's the only thing that would separate that would be like I said, the laundry room, and there's a hall closet there.
Mm-hmm. And okay, and did you have any all right, so when you went into that in the bedroom to go to sleep, was everybody else in bed, or were they still up?
Yeah, everybody else was pretty much in bed for the most part. Aaliyah hadn't gone to her actual bedroom. Aaliyah was asleep on her couch, and her daughter went to her bedroom.
Okay. And what's the daughter's name?
Asia.
Is Asia's bedroom then, if you were to exit the bedroom you were in, is her bedroom to the left?
If I were to exit the bedroom that I was in,
Uh-huh.
if I were to exit the bedroom that I was in and go down the hall to the other 2 bedrooms, Aaliyah's room is on the left. Asia's room is on the right.
Okay. But you would turn left out of the bedroom you were in to get there, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And how far is that bedroom from where you were, from the bedroom you were in? Could you guess how many feet?
I don't know.
How many steps?
I would say maybe 20 steps or so, maybe 20 to 30 steps or so.
20 to 30 steps. Okay. Okay. 20 to 30, you're saying? Okay. And you testified that you had come in and you'd been with Mr. Wilson, correct?
No, Mr. Williams.
Williams, I'm sorry. And you had, and when you left him, were you guys getting along, or were you in an argument?
We were getting along fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you testified that you were laying on your
I'm sorry, you broke up.
Yep, I'm sorry, I'm turning this off. Okay. Okay. You testified that you would come home. Did you drive or did he drop you off?
Marcus dropped me off.
Okay. And you testified that you took a shower and then you were laying on your stomach
Yes, sir.
in the front bedroom, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you testified that then Mr. Hill came in and was the light on or off?
The light was off. I was headed to bed.
Okay. Was the TV on or were you listening to music or anything?
The TV was on, but there was nothing connected to it. So Mrs. Taylor doesn't have cable, and we primarily use the game systems. So if the game system wasn't on, it would just kind of be like a blue light on the TV. So the TV was on,
Okay.
but there was nothing playing. There wasn't anything on it.
Okay. And you testified you were sleeping, correct?
Not at that point. I was headed to bed. I was on my way to sleep.
Okay. And how long had you been in there when he came in?
I would say at least 30 minutes or so.
And you testified that he began to give you a massage,
Correct.
and this was okay with you.
Yes, it was.
Okay. And then you testified that he attempted to roll you over and pull your shorts down at the same time.
Correct.
Okay, let's talk about this bedroom. How many beds are in this room?
There's one.
There's one bed. Okay, is it a twin size bed, a full size bed, a queen size bed?
There's one twin size bed.
Okay, and when you walk into this room, where is the bed located?
If you walk into the room, directly ahead of you, across the room, is where the bed is located. In the center of the room is a dresser, and on the right wall of the room is a dresser. So on the front wall in the bedroom is where the twin size bed would be.
Okay, is there a desk and chairs too, or anything like that?
There was like a gaming chair that Mr. Hill and Aaliyah's son would sit in to play the game. As I said, they were on each one of those dressers. There was one up against the wall and one up against the back wall. Each one of those dressers had a TV. Mr. Hill would play the game on his own TV, and her son would play the game on his TV. So at any time, there may have been a chair or two in the room for either one of them to sit in to play the game or watch TV or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And you said eventually he pulled your shorts to the side?
Correct.
Okay. And that's when he then penetrated you. Was that your testimony?
Correct.
Okay. And you testified that you said no and stop?
Yes, I did.
Did you say this in a normal tone of voice or was it audible?
It was audible, and it wasn't a normal tone of voice. It was stern. It wasn't, hey, please stop. It was more stern. It was a seriousness to my voice.
Okay. And you were yelling?
I would say that I was.
Mhm. Was the door open or closed?
The bedroom door was closed.
Had you closed it?
When I originally went into the bedroom, yes, I did. When Mr. Hill came into the bedroom, he obviously opened it to enter the bedroom, and then he closed it behind himself.
Okay. And you testified you didn't know if Mr. Hill had ejaculated, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you testify as to how long this went on?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you testify as to how long this went on?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And then you testified that you got up and went to the bathroom. Is that correct?
Yes.
How far is the bathroom from this bedroom?
Well, you missed a part of where I testified. I said I went into.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. You testified that you went into get some clothes to another room. Is
And
that
then I
correct?
went into the bedroom. I mean, and
Which
then I
room
went
did
into
you-
the bathroom.
Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot which room you went into to get clothes.
I went into Asia's room, her daughter's room, the room on the end right of the hallway.
And was Asia awake or sleeping at the time?
That I'm not too sure of. Asia, she has a friend that she likes to fall asleep on the phone with, like on FaceTime. And
Uh-huh.
the phone was on, that kind of thing, but there was no light on when I went in the room. So I'm not sure if she was still on the phone with a friend conversing or if they had fallen asleep on the phone together. But there was no light on. There was nothing on to indicate that she was awake.
Okay. And where were your clothes on? Where were your clothes in the room when you went in there?
When you walk in her room and immediately turn to the left, there is a little plastic, like 3-set drawer that had some of my clothes in it, and then also in her closet.
Mm-hmm. And did you have any? Okay. And so, how long were you in that room?
I would honestly say literally seconds. I grabbed an outfit that was a matching top and bottom, so I just grabbed a track set and walked back out of the room.
And did you say anything to Asia?
I did.
Oh, you broke up on me.
No, I did not speak to Asia.
Okay. Did she speak to you?
No, she did not.
Okay. Did you turn the light on?
No, I used my phone for like the flashlight.
Okay. Was the door open or closed when you went to it?
Asia's door is primarily closed all the time, so I had to open her door to go into it.
Did you knock?
No,
Okay. So you went from Asia's room to the bathroom, correct?
correct.
And how long did you how long were you in the bathroom?
I would say I was in the bathroom for about maybe 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay. And did you and then your friend you called your friend? Who's your friend?
I didn't call her. I texted her, and her name is
I'm
Kayana
sorry.
Chapman.
I'm sorry, you texted your friend and how long did it take her to and you testified she came and picked you up, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Did you wait in the bathroom for her?
I'm sorry.
Did you wait in the bathroom for her?
Partially I did. I received a few text messages of her giving me like her up to dates on where she was at in the process of coming to get me. And what I mean by that is she texted me and said, okay, I'm going to put my clothes on. Hey, I'm headed out. Hey, I'm 5 minutes away. When I got the text message that she was about 5 minutes away, that's when I proceeded to leave the bathroom, because shortly after that, she texted me and told me that she wasn't able to read the numbers on the houses because it was so dark. So that's when I proceeded to leave.
Okay. And so for that 5 minutes, where did you go?
I went, and Aaliyah has kind of like a chase lounge, I guess you will call it, in her living room. And I sat on the chase lounge until I felt like I seen headlights.
And was Aaliyah still up at the time?
No, she was out of there. No, she was sleeping.
Was she sleeping in her bedroom or in the living room?
She was sleeping on the sofa in the living room.
Okay. So you didn't talk to her either?
No, I didn't feel comfortable talking to Aaliyah.
Okay. Did you ever go back into the bedroom after you were in the bathroom?
No.
Okay. All right. And then your friend came and took you to the hospital?
Correct.
All right. And there they did an exam?
Yes, they did.
And so, and did you speak to a nurse and tell her what you had just testified to?
Yes, I spoke to, I believe it's called a triage nurse, the one who lets you, like the initial person that you talk to when you get to the emergency room. I spoke with a triage nurse, and that's when I initially let her know that I felt as if I had been sexually assaulted and that I was 15 weeks pregnant, and I wanted to get myself checked out and also check on the health of my child. But I did not release Mr. Hill's name at that time.
Okay. Did you tell her that it had been Marcus who did this?
No, I did not. When my friend,
I just asked a yes or no question. Ma'am,
No,
I
I
just
did
asked a
not.
yes or no question. Okay.
No, I did not.
And you spoke to the police about this, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you spoke to them and you understood that that once you were speaking to them, they were going to do an investigation, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And, do you believe it's important to tell that when you're speaking to the police and they're doing an investigation, that you should tell them that you should try and be as truthful as possible?
Yes.
Okay. But you didn't tell the police immediately that you believe Mr. Hill had done this, correct?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And did you tell the police that Marcus had done this?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. Okay. Okay. And you were of sound mind that night. You hadn't been drinking, correct?
No, I was 15 weeks pregnant. No,
Okay. You hadn't been using drugs or smoking marijuana or anything?
I do smoke marijuana. Yes.
Okay. But you were of sound mind at the time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you weren't intoxicated?
No, not at all.
And would it surprise you? Now you said that you had bruises. Would it surprise you that the medical reports don't say anything about bruising?
No, that wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. Your Honor, could I have a short breakout room with Mr. Hill?
Yes, you may. All right.
Yeah, you just have to press a button, so it doesn't require much.
Okay. Okay. And
All right. Mr. Gaddy, please repeat your last question.
been a while. So you testified that we were talking about who was in the room first, and I believe you had testified that Mr. Hill had done something with the TV and the lights were out and he had just pushed a button. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where we were. Okay, did you and he converse about anything before he started? Now you testified that he started massaging you. Is that correct?
Correct.
And did you and he converse about anything before that?
No, there were no words.
Okay. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Your witness, Ms. Reiser, any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. May this witness be excused?
She may be excused, Your Honor, although I would like her to remain on just to address the issue of bond.
Thank you. All right. Any further witnesses as to this matter, Ms. Reiser?
No further witnesses.
All right. Any witnesses from the defense?
No, Judge.
Motion from the people.
Yes, Your Honor, we would move for bind over on count 1 in the felony information. I do believe that Ms. Nelson's testimony does provide probable cause that a crime was committed and that this defendant, Douglas Eugene Deshawn Hill, did commit the crime of criminal sexual conduct in the 3rd degree. He did engage in sexual penetration with Ms. Nelson using force or coercion to accomplish a sexual penetration. we would ask that based on her testimony, the force that she described, her repeated attempts to stop him both verbally by telling him no and trying to push him off her, that you would find probable cause and bind the case over to circuit court.
Thank you. Response?
Yes, Your Honor. This court is allowed to assess credibility in these matters. This is a house that is a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with a living room. There was at least 2 other people in the home. One 20 steps away, apparently, and the other in the living room right next to the bedroom. Ms. Nelson testified that she was stern and that she yelled, and yet apparently nobody else was able to hear her. We'd ask the court in assessing this testimony to not bind this matter over. I don't think the people have met the elements of the crime.
Thank you. The court has heard the testimony that was provided today. Ms. Nelson did testify that she had indicated to the defendant when he came in the room that she did not want him to do that. She did not want it to occur, and that he did penetrate her by after attempting to get her pants and panties down. Her panties down. He then just moved them to the side and used his body parts to actually force penetrate her. She indicated that there was bruising. The testimony, although is a question of fact for the jury at this point in time, we believe that it is probable cause to be bound over. As to the criminal sexual conduct in the 3rd-degree charge, matter is bound over to the circuit court.
In terms of reading of the information, I would acknowledge receipt of it. Ms. Reiser, it'll be the same one that's attached to the other stuff, correct?
Correct. I'm going to try to electronically send it this afternoon to you. And
that's fine. I'll acknowledge receipt of it. I have an unsigned copy, and we'll waive reading and stand mute, Judge.
All right, thank you. I will enter a not guilty plea for the finding on count 1 criminal sexual conduct, which is a 15-year felony with mandatory AIDS and AF testing. I am signing an order at this point for the testing.
Thank you.
The pretrial in this matter would be, well, I guess we need to address bond first.
And Your Honor, I would like to address bond. I believe the defendant's bond is set at a $50,000 PR bond, and I have serious safety concerns for the victim in this case. As I indicated to Your Honor and to Mr. Gaddy prior to the beginning of the examination, immediately within days of the victim reporting this, she started to receive text messages. The first was on Thursday, May 6th, stating, "We stomping that bastard out of you," within a celebration emoji, presumably referring to the unborn child that she's carrying. The second text received on May 8th said, "You ready to join your daddy, bitch?" And the victim can certainly elaborate on that her father is deceased. She's continued to receive text messages from unknown numbers that are not traceable, like a spoof number. On June 20th, she received a series of text messages that said, "Tell me how it feels to be your last week alive. Your baby will suffer very slowly after we cut that bitch out of you, and you can't hide." She responded, "All of this is being added to the report that's going to be called on the 20th. Please continue." And the response was, "LOL, wait until we catch you." She was receiving text messages last week on the 16th, and I can certainly let the victim elaborate. But now that she has testified, I'm very, very concerned for her safety.
All right. Are you calling her as a witness at this
I
point?
am. Miss Nelson, would you please unmute? Do you need her to be sworn in again, Your Honor?
Ms. Nelson, you are still on it.
Thank you. Can you explain to the judge the text messages that you've been receiving most recently? Those would have been last Friday, July 16th and July 15th, and throughout the pendency of this case since you reported it to the police?
Yes, I can do that. I just want to make sure that it is okay that my screen is going to pause for a second so I can go to the actual text messages. Is that okay?
They're on your phone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Your Honor, I guess I would say that if the text messages are, there's been a lack of foundation in their hearsay.
It's a bond hearing.
With respect to the hearsay argument, I agree with the prosecution that it is a bond hearing. With respect to the foundational argument, I do believe that we need to have something on the record as to the foundation that these are coming from the defendant.
So I don't have any forensic evidence that they're from him, except the context, the timing of the text in relation to the court hearing, and what Miss Nelson would testify to.
Any response?
Your Honor, I mean, these are texts, presumably from numbers that Ms. Nelson doesn't recognize, that Ms. Reiser doesn't recognize, that are not attributed in any way, shape, or form at this time, or by the officer or by the office. Well, one of them is part of a police report, and I don't see any attribution there, or any nexus to Mr. Hill. So I would object to those, Your Honor. There's 350 million people in this country. And there is, Ms. Reiser has talked about, there's other people who may or may not be involved in this. This matter goes beyond, I believe, these allegations here today. So of all the people that she knows, while there may be a coincidence or something that it came whenever the close to the court date, as she stated, I would still object to the foundation. I don't think there's anything that can trace this that can in any way connect this to Mr. Hill.
Thank you. The court believes that there is no connection to Mr. Hill. However, at this point, the court will hear the testimony from Ms. Nelson as to what those particular text messages are, and you can make arguments as to the next. I think that goes to the actual value as opposed to the actual existence. So they exist. The question is whether or not they can be connected to him. And so I will hear the testimony as to them and make my ruling based on that.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Nelson, you received text messages. What were they, ma'am?
I have been receiving text messages from the beginning, and actually in response to Mr. Hill's lawyer saying that none of them came directly from his number. That is not true. In the very beginning of this, I did get a text message directly from Mr. Hill, and it stated, "You a foul bitch, and you better hope the police catch him before I do."
I'm going to object to this testimony. The text messages that I've been informed of and that I've received are two that were in the police report and one that was sent to me today. I have no prior knowledge of this text, of any text that Ms. Nelson is speaking of.
Ms. Reiser, has that information been shared, Mr. Gaddy?
I will, Your Honor. There's going to be a separate investigation for witness intimidation. So as soon as I have it prepared, I'll send it to him.
My question was, have you shared it prior to this moment so that he's aware of this text that apparently Ms. Nelson is testifying about?
No, Your Honor, these have been like coming in. She's sending to the advocate. She's sending them to the investigator. One has been supplemented out. The investigator's leaving the department, so the others haven't been supplemented out. I did tell him last night when we spoke on the phone about today's case that his client had been sending threatening messages to the victim.
Right, but she's testifying now about one that is directly connected to him, which I wasn't aware of until now. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he was either. So my issue is that in order for him to properly defend his client, he has to be aware of what the allegations are.
So no, I've only sent him the 2 text messages.
Were you aware of this one that she's referring to right now?
I don't know. I don't believe so.
Right. Ms. Nelson?
Yes.
Can I see the parties? Can I see the attorneys in the breakout session, please? All right, we're back on the record in the matter of Douglas Eugene Deshaun Hill. The court is going to set this matter over on what would normally be an in-custody date so that the bond issue can be addressed. I did speak to the prosecution regarding making sure that the defense has a copy of any and all text messages that they intend to use as a basis for the bond violation and provide that to the defense as quickly as possible. Although I felt that this matter was in a position to proceed to preliminary examination on today's date, I believe that the defense is somewhat hindered by the fact that they don't have the text messages that are allegedly being sent by the defendant in this case. So we will schedule this for a pretrial before Judge Darlene O'Brien on July 29th, 2021 at 1:30.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. We'll be in touch with you, okay?